Massive. I just want to jump on here quickly and talk about probably the biggest issue that you're going to face if you're a young man in Australia who knows you're meant for more and actually wants to go after something and wants to achieve something fantastic with his life. Unfortunately, in Australia, if you're a young, ambitious person and you go out there loud and you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to step up and take on this challenge, I want something more from my life, people are going to try and cut you down. And that's something which I've just learned is referred to as tall poppy syndrome. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've ever gone to someone and you've told them about this fantastic idea you've got, you've told them about what you want to do in the future, they might have come back to you and just said anything like, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't think too big like that. Are you sure you can actually do it? All these different thoughts, all these different words designed to try and make you question yourself and not try too hard, designed to try and make you put your head down and just fit in with the herd, not to try and be that person who really excels and really goes for something greater than that. And I noticed the difference immediately once I left Australia and I came out to Thailand. I realized in Australia it was almost an unspoken cultural rule that if you grow too fast, we're going to try and chop you down. You're punished for wanting ambition. You're shamed for wanting more. And the worst part is, and I think what makes this so dangerous, is this does not come from people who already have it out for you. This does not come from people who you would think of as your enemies. 99% of the time, this comes from friends, family, people you trust, and people whose opinions you've been taught to value and listen to as you grow up. What ends up happening when you're getting this constant feedback loop from people trying to destroy your dreams and ambitions is you end up putting your head down to try and fit in. You end up being quieter to try and keep friends, to try and be liked, because you know if you really put yourself out there, if you really say, I'm meant for this, I know I can do this, I will make it work, you're going to get shamed for that. Because what happens in our minds, if we're that tall poppy, to avoid being cut down, we're going to try and shrink so that we can survive. And so once you get into this cycle of trying to hide your wins, of trying to dull down your ambition so that people will still like you, is eventually you stop playing to win altogether. You give up on what you initially set out to do. And this is especially prevalent in small towns in Australia and like really tight-knit communities, because my family moved down from the mainland to Tasmania when I was probably only 3 years old. And I grew up in a very small town in a valley where majority of the people were born there, they live there, they go to school there, they work there, and they'll stay there until they die. So there's a very one-track way of living there. So when I got a full-time job in the local grocery store there, and I got a middle management position, I thought, this is brilliant, I'm gonna push for something, I want more. The reception I got from people was actually very negative. There are not very many people there who are actually supportive and encouraging. A lot of people are trying to nitpick and pull you down, because a lot of the people I work with would be women in their 40s and 50s who had been in this town their whole life. They'd gone to the local shitty high school and they didn't know anything else. All they'd do is work, complain all day at work, and then when their shift's over, go home, get drunk and get on the cigarettes. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that at some point or the other, every one of these people once thought to themselves, I want more than this. But then when they grow up around these people which are constantly speaking negativity into their dream, bit by bit they get quieter, they try and dull it down, they give up until eventually they get to the age and they get to the situation where it's almost impossible for them to escape because it's all they know now and they've resigned themselves to it. When they see a young person who's actually woken up, they see someone who's actually going to go after their dreams and someone who wants to achieve more. I think there's a lot of bitterness attached to that. And there's a lot of reason why they would want to pull you down, because no one wants to see someone do better than them. A lot of people want to see people do good, but they don't want to see them do better. As young men, we're going to get to a point where we've got a decision to make. Are we going to play the fitting game? Are we going to try and keep all our friends? Are we going to try and be liked by our local community? Or are we going to realize to ourselves, hang on, I only get one shot at this. Life is a one and done thing. Why would I listen to these people if it's going to mean sacrificing my dreams? Why would you not go after the things you actually want? So the biggest thing that I did was just get out of my hometown. I saved up money from my job. I went to Thailand for 6 months, and straight away the world was different colors. It was a completely different experience for me, because the people I was surrounded by now were other young people who had also done the same thing. They wanted to chase their dreams. They wanted to leave their hometowns. And so suddenly, instead of being surrounded by this environment which was trying to restrict my dreams, which was trying to make things difficult, I was around an environment of people who wanted to lift me up and people who were also on the same life path. When I finished a shift at work, after I'd been around these people, I would feel like my power had been drained and feel a lot more tired, and I wouldn't feel so motivated to go after my dreams. So I started drinking. That was how I put a smile on my face. And then I'd wake up in the morning, go back to work, and that was how I deal with it. But once I come out to Thailand and I do something like hit a gym session with a mate, just through an hour of conversation, us lifting each other up, us lifting some heavy weights, getting a sick pump on, you feel on top of the world. I'll leave those gym sessions feeling like I can do anything because the difference is that environment, and the only difference is those people you have around you. So that's one of the things that we need to do in order to realize our potential and actually go after what we want, is to get away from that negative influence. Get out of your hometown, go anywhere. It doesn't have to be international. Just go somewhere where you can restart, where you can be 100% you right from the beginning, and no one knows you and no one's going to judge you for that. And we also have to get over the fear of not being liked. We have to get over wanting people to like us, and we have to start sharing everything. Share when you win, but also share when you lose. Because I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to get over this fear of not wanting to be liked. I don't care if people like me, I don't care if they don't. And so what I started doing was just trying to share the positives, just trying to share my wins. But once we get into this mindset that we have to win at everything we touch and that we can't fail along the way, we're also doomed to long-term failure by taking it up, because you have to fail to learn things. You have to fail to progress. So don't be afraid of those people knowing that you failed at something. Do be afraid of letting it end there and not picking yourself back up and continuing on. Fail as hard and as fast as you can. Get those dirty reps out of the way so you can actually win long term. So if you only take one sentence from this video, let it be this: you don't need to fit in. You don't need to dim your light. You need to be hated for being excellent and rise anyway. Because if people are going to try and cut you down, you might as well stand tall. That's just the way I see it. So I hope you got some value from this video, boys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know where you're at in your journey. Let me know what you're trying to work on. Let me know what your ambitions are. And let's rise together. Let's build this up and let's create a community of guys who support each other, not a community of people who are going to tear each other down. So love you, boys. Drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.